It's Tuesday, the 14th of November. Can you believe that Thanksgiving is just about a week away? That just seems impossible. Time is moving so quickly. Oh, there you are. Finally, the number showed up that you're here. I knew there were people here because they were talking to me in the chat. Uh, yeah, I cannot believe that we're in to the Thanksgiving season. Then it'll be the rush of Christmas and all the other stuff that goes on with that. And in numerology, this is called the shoulder time. This is the time when we ease from the vibrations of this last year, 2023, which was a 6, into 2024, which will be a 7 year. And you'll hear me refer to that throughout the time. If you want to know a lot more about that, go visit Ann Perry. She's doing a series of shows right now on transition from year to year. And it's a really important time of year for us to kind of look back and then look forward. And today I want to talk about words. And words are really important to us because in the end, it's the way we can frame our thoughts to the outside world. And I'm going to mention the word, the J word that everyone shivers when they hear it. Journaling. Journaling helps you lessen your own self-talk. So if you just sit down and look at your journal just for a minute every day and say, what does my soul want me to know? And just write down the first word you hear in your brain. It will get you moving on the right path and get you thinking about things. In the South, they call it get to getting. Thank you, Sakura Lady. She's sending me a lot of health and happiness during the holidays. Health I need. I got another cold, guys. But that's one of the reasons why I went back to my journaling, writing down, where is this coming from? So the first word I want to look at in journals, every time you see me on my own channel, I'll have a word that day that I've looked at. And the word today is one that nobody likes to hear because it's got so much fear around it, and it's failure. And when people hear the word failure, it triggers most people, it triggers them back to all the worst things that happened, all the time it didn't work out, didn't come out to be the way the shiny penny I expected it to be, that kind of stuff. And what really, failure is one of those easy words in English because it's black and white. You either fail or you succeed. And then it depends how that worked out for you. But it's our minds are trained. The human mind in the old dimensions and in the heavier earth energies are they're locked into those black and white kind of terms. And we're going into, blessedly or not, a lot of shades of gray. And so you can't really put failure down to that. And when I was thinking about failure, whenever I think about failure, because I read a lot of people who goes, oh, that blew up and it was a failure. Well, no, a lot of times things aren't. A lot of times we want to go from A to Z. We don't want to do A, B, C, D, E. We don't want to do things in the right order. And sometimes we do bypass the order. And one of the things, I was always in the arts when I was a child. I'm sure that shocks most of you. But I used to write a lot of plays. I did a lot of theater. I did a lot of creative things. I did a lot of singing and music. And music does require you learning where the notes are and stuff. So there's some methodology. And so, but when I think about failure, I always think about when I was going to graduate school, and the one proviso for me to get into graduate school, passed all the GMATs and all that stuff. But I did not, I came from an arts background and I had no heavy math, some heavy science, but not much in the math, especially math. And I had to pass calculus to get into graduate school. Well, no one asked me what my math training had been in high school. They just saw what I didn't do in college. And no one told me that in order to do calculus, you have to do trigonometry until I got the Calculus for Idiots book, which took me through the parts of trig that I needed. I never took trig formally. I passed calculus because, and trust me, at the beginning, I was ready to throw the book away. I was ready to throw the class away. I was ready to throw away the dream of getting a master's away. And my oldest child was just learning to walk. And I mean, was going from crawling to walking. And I would watch that poor kid pull himself up on something and then fall on his butt all day long while I was sitting there falling on my butt in calculus. And I remember sitting there one day in the late afternoon, watching him do this for the 4,000th time. And I thought, who am I to complain? Apparently, at some point in my life, I must have had the determination to get up on two legs and walk. But we unlearn that as we get further on. I mean, if everyone laughed and pointed at you and you tried to walk, we'd all be crawling around the earth. I mean, just that's the way to be. But what happens is we get older than that, we get standing up and walking, and then the no's and the don'ts, and oh, that didn't work out like it should have, and all that stuff gets dumped on us. But really, you have to consider failures are all those little things that look like failures where he didn't get up where he wanted to be, he didn't get to stand as tall as he wanted to stand. He eventually made it, and he walked. And I eventually made it. I passed calculus. And when I told my calculus teacher, who had formerly, before he taught at the university I was at, he taught at West Point, where everybody goes in there with good science, math backgrounds. I can't imagine there's a theater major there. And I was telling him, what really helped me was this book, and it showed me about trigonometry. And he goes, well, what were your grades when you took trig? I said, I never took trig. He looked at me and said, you shouldn't be able to pass this course. And I said, I had this other little book, and I'd read what the trig stuff was, and I'd go back and figure it out, and then I'd apply it. And he said, are you sure you don't want to be a mathematician? Because that's what it takes. But it's because I didn't let failure get in the way, and I finished it. And I do have a master's in accounting and computer science, which ought to make anybody who's ever seen my technical failures on this channel roll over and laugh. But what we're going to get to now is to the questions, and we have some good ones today. We don't have a whole lot, so I'll be able to get some off the board, but I'm going to run them as banners. And by the way, if you post a question with me, usually I only catch them if they're there like by 9 in the morning before my show because of having to transfer them over and make them banners and stuff. Today I caught two ladies at the end, and I'm glad I did. But you'll know I saw your question before the show if you get a little heart, if it comes back to your channel as a heart. Okay. What is my special talent? Oh, this I'm going to tell you. This was my first thing I did today. I rolled, what's the week ahead look like? And a couple people asked that earlier. And this is really good. This is our minds in this. Our mind is aligned with creativity. These three stones are kind of crappy. You're living in the past. You're not moving forward. You're thinking about things from the past. And that's the kind of fear and worry we get from failure. That's why that's why I picked that as my word. Because the most amazing stone on this board, and this is our grounding element, and it's in water. And when I love it in water, it says, grounding changes are setting up long-term patterns. So all I can say is if you're kind of in a mental funk or you're focusing on things that are negative, that's involved with your spirit and your body being tied to old patterns that you've had, and your clarity feeling false. Your mind kind of feels fuzzy. I'm going to tell you, stones are just like cards in a tarot reading. You can move them, you can turn them, you can decide, no, I don't want to have that happen. This is where free will comes in. When I see this, I realize a lot of people have been tied up in the same stuff I have. Coming up to the holiday season, a lot of us are going to go through, wow, it would be lovely if I could go home and see my whole family. Well, I can't because some of them are dead. I can see them every day if I want to see them. But the living ones, but there just are reasons that I can't be in their world and be who I am. So thinking about that doesn't empower me at all. What empowers me is learning to recognize energy I can't stand to be around and finding the people I can be around. So that's why I wanted to focus. I may have failed at having siblings I get along with, but I've accomplished what I want to be in being myself. And also, if y'all want to focus on failure, just think about how bad we felt about what was going to happen a week ago today when a whole bunch of states, and I'm talking politics here, guys, a whole bunch of people showed us what I honestly think. I think the American voter is smarter than a lot of the readers give them credit for. And I think that they showed it last Tuesday in Ohio and the other states. So, what are we going to do now for this lovely lady who is user and then some sort of mishmash of letters and numbers? So, what we're going to do is, what's my special talent? And I'm going to tell you, going with today's theme of it's often what we turn a blind eye to that we have the least messages from. I'm going to use the Power of Surrender cards. These cards are marvelous. And what it's going to tell you, and I'm going to interpret it for you, is whatever you need to surrender will lead you to your talent. And it may be surrender your own lack of understanding of it, but I'm going to do that one. That's how I'm going to read that one for you. And if you've never had a private reading with me, I use a garden, I use tarot, I'll use a pendulum, I'll use any number of the oracle cards that I have. Although I used to think oracle cards are cheating, but I think some decks really focus stuff. And we go through all these things. So let's see what you need to surrender. You just need to surrender to success at whatever makes you feel most successful. You're ready to really experience some new abundance. Don't look back at previous roadblocks, like I was saying, or difficulties. Leap into the exciting world of your new possibilities. So I think the way you worded that question, and this is why I love to be able to talk to people when I read them, is you're really thinking about something. Whatever that is that pops into your mind constantly, go for it, girl, because that's exactly where you are. And I hope that works out for you now. New lady. Lakotas, hi. I'm not having good luck right now. I haven't had some for quite some time. Could you please provide me with a reading? Also, which stone would you recommend me for? I'm a Leo, 852. Okay. Leos do better with sunshiny stones. And, okay. That's not the sunshiny stone I thought I was grabbing. This is yellowish stones like this, and this actually is a quartz with a lot of iron mixed in it, but it comes out yellow when it's finished. Sunshiny stones, bright stones, gold. Leos are normally very outgoing, and of course, Dorothy Morgan would slap me for saying that. We'd have to know other things on your chart, but I'm going to look and see if I can figure out. I'm going to pull from Angels and Auras, and then I may do a second reading depending on what it tells me. Angels and Auras is another oracle deck I've been working with a lot right now, and it's by Radley Valentine and Dougal Fraser. And I took a course with them. That was the first time they taught it. That was the lead up to this book. And they work the archangel angle that Radley knows so well and their colors. And then Dougal works almost totally with color. And they've come up with this marvelous deck. And what's really cool about this deck is these oracle cards have reversals. Most oracle cards are what they are, and they don't have any subtlety in between. But let's see what you got. Okay, you ended up with Michael Blue, which Michael's a marvelous angel to have on your size. It says you're honest, trustworthy, and observant. And I think part of the reason you think things haven't gone for you is because you've wasted those talents with people who weren't dealing with you in the same way. But I'm going to look up Michael in his little book. When you have Michael in blue, Archangel Michael is arguably the most well-known and beloved of all the archangels. He appears to be sapphire. Blue color radiates a sense of protection, safety, and peace. His name means he who is like God. He can help you obtain clarity on your life purpose, gain insight about people around you. I think that relates to what I have a feeling that you've had people around you who've made your luck seem less than it was, and that give you insight about people around you and their true motivations in your life, and sever your energetic connections that no longer serves you. He is often referred to as the archangel of the planet Earth and has broad knowledge of human life and aspects of all kinds on the incarnation here. Blue is defined as a color of truth and wisdom. Blue energies can be seen around people who are incredibly smart, honest, and often considered blunt. People with blue energy are introspective and completely comfortable in their own thoughts. The depth of this energy and the vibration makes a person with a blue aura seeker a soulful connection with an aversion to surface chit-chat. They are informative junkies, and there is such a thing as there's never too much research for them. Blue energy is when you're interested in a topic. They dive into the podcasts, the articles, and the books. The overall feeling I get from that card and that reading for you is you need to be more careful of the people you're around. You may be an empath who doesn't know how to protect herself or her own energy. And so when you're very honest and blunt. And when you're around people who are lying, you know they're lying, but you don't want to say liar, liar, pants on fire, because you don't like the reaction. And when you have bad luck, it's because you've put that in a way. I'm not blaming you for doing it, but you've tied up with people who don't energetically mix well with you. So, I don't know what personal year you're going to have. To figure out your personal year that you're coming into, the 2024 equals 7. So you take the 8 in your birthday and add the digits. Say your birthday was 8/12. You'd have 8 and 3, which is 11 and 7. And so you had 11 and 7 together. You got 18. You reduce that to a 9. So you'll be going into a 9 year. That's a year when you clean people out or get rid of things. Get and sort of straighten it out, because if you know the numerologic cycle, then you go into a 1 year after your 9 year. So you can figure out your personal year and then just go Google it, because there is a ton of stuff in the internet about personal years, and it'll help you figure that out. And I'm trying to think if I'm drawn to another tool. Yeah, I'm going to do surrender. I'm going to use the surrender oracle cards for you too. And there are cycles in our lives. Sometimes when you're in a 4 cycle and you're having to clean and build a new base and stuff, things can seem quite difficult. But when you look back, you think, oh, the critical changes I made then made a difference in how my life went. So, yeah, we're going to see what you get. Okay, this is a good one for you. I'm glad I pulled this. It's called Surrender to Divine Timing. And it says, sometimes divine timing may differ from your own ego timing. If the goal isn't manifesting fast enough according to your own ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. And I think the other part of that is, and you see all the blue that's in that card, we talked about having a lot of blue around you with Michael. I think timing is going to turn in your way. The Wheel of Fortune doesn't It rolls and then rolls straight. It just rolls up and down. And I think your timing is changing. When I read your question, I had a feeling that some good things are going to happen for you, but I think part of your sense of bad luck is more of bad energy around you. If you go to my website, which is here, www.crystaldirections.com, there's a whole folder on the front page called resources. And there's some resources there for praying to archangels, and especially the violet flame, which casts out things that are not productive for us. So you can go there and look at that. And then we're going to go. Josephine, I would love to know what my recent past life was. Okay. Different deck of cards. And it may not be your most recent one. It may be the one that's affecting you most in this life. I'm going to warn you about that. I can't time pick. I can't say, oh, I only want to know from the 1600s to the 1800s. The universe doesn't give me that talent. Thank you. One more shuffle. One sort of said, no, these cards aren't right yet. Okay, that's a good shuffle. Okay. 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 We had an interesting past life. You were a soldier. You had a lot of strength. And eventually you walked away from the battle. And I think that got you into trouble. So when you came into this life, you didn't ever want to put up with the kind of judgment you put up with that time. So you have some warrior tendencies in you, but you'll back them away. And what that's left you with is you've been feeling undecided about what your values are. Let me, because you got 2 pages on here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You've got pages of knights all over this. This means you're supposed to be doing a lot of active stuff. You should be the King of Swords, or have the qualities of the King of Swords. He's insightful. He's bright. He uses a pen, or he uses his tongue to express where he wants to be. But right now you've been kind of in a blue period, and it blocks you from moving forward. You've got 2 knights. Now, I always tell you, Tarot, you can turn anything around. So you can turn these guys around. You've got 1, 2, 3. You've got 3 knights on this. This is a life where you're supposed to be moving forward. And once you cotton onto that, then you will develop the value base you want. That's what's most important. And maybe joining a spiritual community instead of doing it by brute force like you did in the past life. He has a little, that energy had a lot of good qualities in it, though. He had the strength to pull away and not want to be part of the battle. He walked away from the battles. You can walk away. You don't have to battle people for things. You can just be who you are, and you'll be fine. So that's a really quick, trust me. I tell you who to ask for when you're in your dreams. Ask to meet these 2, the King of Swords and the Knight of Wands. And you could just, before you go to bed, say, I'd like to know how you guys fit in my life, because I think they're the most important as fitting into your life. And what I asked for was what could really make a difference from the past life to this one, and learning that lesson again that he did and living with it would be good for you. Okay, hide. Okay, I'm not going to do a whole 2024 because a year is a lot to expect out of a few cards, but in general, I'm going to see how the next 3 months are going to go for you. And when we look at that, then we can see kind of the trajectory you have in 2024. And Next Thursday at 1 o'clock. At this time, I will be on Bathrobe Tarot. And I don't know if Danny will be in his bathrobe or not. I won't be in mine. But we're going to look at 12 months. We're going to look at Danny's 12 months. He said he wanted to do his 12-month reading then, and I don't know if he's going to do that or not. I always warn people, we see a lot of stuff in those 12-month readings you may not want to be public knowledge. So I don't know if we're doing that, but we're definitely going to look at the patterns and energies of what's coming in 2024, because we're about to do, when we get out of this month, this is sort of the last rough month this year, things are really going to start changing massively for us. So let's see what's going to happen to Lilac Heaven. Oh, yeah. Well, if you're expecting a whole lot of change in 2024, boy, are you going to get it. And it's starting right now. So probably now's a good time to ask about it. Okay. Don't let it get in your head. You've been working on some financial problems and you're working them out, either financial or value problems, but you're working them out. You're finally choosing to go your own way. You got tired of people ripping you off, so you're making some huge, massive changes. This card means I'm out of here. That literally means you're changing, moving, either an intense mental move or an intense physical move. But this is you leave all these other cups behind and they move forward. This is today. This is your far past. And you felt ill-served by your far past. But it's drawn you on to know where to go forward. This is complete transition. Right now, in the next 3 months, you're going through a transition like you've never seen. It's going to be like at the end of those 3 months, it's like everything that was there up to that time has gone away and you have many new blessings coming in. It's going to require a real physical move. One of your problems is you've never set clear-cut goals with the universe of what you want. This is where journaling can come in. You just ask a question a day and say, where do I go from here? Soul, tell me, give me a word. And after you do that for a few days, you'll get a bunch of words and then they'll all start tying together and you'll start picking your goals and letting your soul speak. Then you're balancing things. This is right now. You're balancing things. You're keeping things together, but you're not telling people what you really want to say to them. And these cards, you can turn around and say, no, I'm going to say what I need to say. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to show that I have some power. One of the reasons you're not speaking right now is you're too afraid of what they're going to say that's going to hurt you. Turn off that guilt trip and move forward. And this shows the possible. Now, this is the projection of what could happen in the far future. It's that you're going to make new connections. If you kept going like this, not having goals and stuff, you won't make new connections. But if you turn those around, then you can make new connections. And they may not come in this 3 months, but the whole path is there for your life to go through an enormous change right now. So I'd say that's pretty good beginning for 2024 general reading. Everything's going to be getting better, or, and parts of it's, you're going to feel uncomfortable because you're going to be in a different role than you've been used to being in. Okay. And good luck. Let me know what's happening. And then Jan Johnson. I was told years ago that I had a past life bleeding through into this one. They don't bleed through. They just come through with you. You agree to let them come through. I'm working through the issues of both lives. Am I working through the issues of both lives and releasing? So this is going to be a quick yes or no. You look if you believe what I believe, which is you write your own chart, you look at the things that you're good at, you look at the things you need work on. And so there's not that your past life's bleeding through. You agreed to let it be here, and now you're trying to deal with it. So let's see, for Jan Johnson. Yes, no, on. Am I releasing what I need to? You will be able to in the future know you've imprisoned yourself. And money is not the only worth you have in this world. Shows you've had little difficulty making the foundation you needed to make, but you're getting over it. You're getting over the beating yourself up over it. You're getting over the depression. But right now you feel kind of imprisoned. And I'll tell you about the Eight of Swords. Every one of those swords out in the snow that's keeping you caged, you put in there so you can take them out. So if that past life's bleeding through, it's probably telling you, yes, I am, and you need to release me. And consider every time you pull one of those swords out, it's a release. You've got the sun, which means, yes, you can do that. It means, yes, overall, you're doing it. You're just not doing it as fast as you could, because it sometimes doesn't meld well with your ideas of how your current life ought to be. But you are going to make it. That looks like a lot of negative cards, but they're not. They're just saying this is where it could be improved. Now, this is also Jan Johnson, and I don't show these things much, but I asked you about a health problem about a year ago, and you said it'll be about a year and a half before I found out what it was and got it resolved. And she said I kind of shortened this because it didn't fit my little square, but she said she's gone, she's getting help, and that the timeline I gave her of a year and a half seems to be on track. So that's the comments and the questions that came in from today. And the first one I got that was in chat was Mountain Sage wants to know if she's traveling to Chicago next week. How will my trip go? Do you like snow? If they're right on the national weather report I saw, there's a big snowstorm coming in. It's raining in California, and apparently it's going to slowly creep across America. It's not going to. I was watching, not because I knew I'd get a question about Chicago, but Chicago's the area I used to travel back up to this time of year. And it's always sort of a shock, because you're down here and the trees still have leaves, and you go up there and it's cold. But let's see. Mountain Sage's trip. How's this going to go? Oh, it's okay. Except for the one burdensome relative you're going to have to put up with. You're not letting them get to you anymore. You've worked it out. You're going to go up and be your happy self. You're afraid it's going to cost you more money than you wanted to spend, and you have to control. But they're not getting to you anymore. This card's showing up all the time, and that would make sense with the 3 stones that were back here saying, I'm living in the past and I'm rethinking things through. But this is, you're going to see all the people you need to see. You're going to have a wonderful time. And that shows you're going to meet with a lot of, let me see if I see a particular person. No, you're going to meet some new people. And they're going to help you make up your mind about something. And you're not going to have to be the leader that runs everything, which is going to be a relief to you. They're going to be self-starters this time. So just go for the ride and have a good trip and enjoy yourself and relax. But you're going to meet some new people up there that you may have known of them, or you may have known them so long ago. They're going to look like different people to you now. But that's a good thing. We did have Debbie Joyce, who said she'd be in and out of the chat because she's waiting on a doctor call. She finally got COVID. I know I have some friends who got it recently and said, I must be one of the last 100 people who get it. And I said, no, not all of us have gotten it. I did get it. I got Omicron, but let's see. Okay, is a barn owl my spirit animal? I think I'm going to do that with a pendulum, because that's a real spirit question. I'm afraid I don't know the characteristics that a barn owl looks for in people. But is Ronnie's? Yes, it is. It's your spirit animal. I did hear a funny story about spirit animals, though. I was watching an interview John Edwards was doing with Howie Mandel, and it ended up Howie Mandel's daughter used to come into her parents' bedroom, and she was talk about the beers that were in her bedroom, and her parents were like, the beers. And Howie said, my dad was a drinker, but I didn't think he'd show up drunk in my kid's bedroom. And they just could never figure it out. And finally, they had a family member come stay with them. So the family member got to sleep in the little girl's bedroom. And she's one of Howie's family members that's very psychic. And the next morning, she came down and she said, what's your daughter think about the bear that's in her bedroom? And they said, what do you mean bear that's in there? She said, there's a spiritual bear in her bedroom. I think it's there guarding her. It's like it's her spirit guide. So now they knew who the bear was. They could talk to her about it. And it ends up John Edwards had a similar thing. His spirit animal is the wolf. And he said when he was a kid, this 5-foot tall wolf would be pacing at the end of his bedroom, protecting him. And he never understood what it was. It used to freak him out as a kid. So, love your spirit animals. Did you see a barn owl flying through your bedroom? Okay, back to animals. Hello, Nancy. Can you tell me if you see a dog in the near future for me? I keep thinking about getting one, but not sure where to look for one, and I don't want a puppy. Okay. Let's just see if there's going to be a dog in your... And I'm sure with this chat, there's going to be all kinds of folks after they saw this question. They're going to explain where you can go find mature adult animals that have to be relinquished for one reason or another. Okay. I'm going to say you're going to get a dog in the next 6 months because near future is kind of one of those phrases I can't really wrap my mind around. So we'll look for the next 6 months, Chad. You're going to have to travel to get it. You're going to have to do a little more exploring about which groups you want to adopt from, do the ethics. But yeah, you're really ready. Did you have a dog in the past? This would imply you had one in a kind of way. You're looking to replace the spirit of that dog. And certain breeds have certain kinds of spirits. One of the reasons you haven't gotten one yet is because your living space isn't set up for it. But this shows you're going to get one. And the guy you're going to adopt it from, he's an older guy with a beard and kind of a curmudgeonly attitude. Don't let that get to you. The dog's a great dog for you. Let's see. Yeah, you've got 2 movement cards here. I said 6 months. It may be a little outside 6 months. I said this 6 months you're going to be exploring the options for adopting a mature dog. I made the mistake on YouTube of watching a video about a rescue dog. And then for days, I got all these sad, pitiful rescue dog stories and was not cheering me up, to put it mildly. Okay. Is my plan to move in with my current boyfriend going to go as planned? Requires one of us to relocate. Okay. Okay, I'm going to see the move from your point of view and from his point of view, and maybe we'll pick up who does the relocating. Okay. Good shuffle. And then I'm going to pull an oracle card for you from the surrender deck, because that may help me. Nivra's moved boyfriend, and boyfriend's move with Nivra. Okay. This is Nivra's move. it can work out quite well for you. You've had some concerns about holding on to your work and holding on to your position, but it's a goal. You really think it's going to work. This is a good card for this kind of union, and you have the strength. I think the union has the strength to see how it goes. So we're going to get the stones out of the way. This is him. Oh, he loves you. But I think you're going to move to him. And I'll tell you why. It's not easy for him to relocate from where he is because of things he'd have to juggle too much. And when he's in his loving, gentle self, it's all wonderful. But it has a lot more to do with his work than yours. So you clearly have the better reading for making the move. Now I'm going to pull a surrender card and see what we get out of it. I don't know. When you said we'll let go as planned, I don't know what your plans were, but I think your plans are. It's easier for you to move. You have more flexibility than he does. Oops. Hold for a second. I had two of the cards just slip out of my hands. Let's see how they look. Okay, the card that flew out that I had to crawl across the floor to find was Surrender to Joy, which is a beautiful card for this. And it says, the key to a positive change in your life is to let joy in and to savor it. Indulge in the random acts of smiling. During both the hard and the easy times, surrender to more joy. And that would make sense with, you're going to have to walk away from things that are more regularly part of your plans. But I think it's circumstances much for him to not be able to pick up and move. And that's a beautiful card. Just do that. Take the leap of faith. Make the move. Let's see. Okay. Teresa says she can eat most of her failures if you like sriracha or ketchup. Okay. Let's see. It's true. I'm looking for questions. Some I got marked before I went over, but some I didn't. So please be patient with me. Okay. People who also have zero math in their background because they were an artist. Okay. This is Lisa Foster. What do I see in the next 3 months? Lisa with the pretty kitty cat. Looks like my daughter's cat, Sterling. My cat's a fat old Siamese mix who, when she was little, was very light and white. And now she's 16 years old. She's getting very dark. I'm sorry, Lise. Somebody wrote the things. I just got their notification 8 minutes late. I put it up yesterday. I put it up like 24 hours ago. I'm sorry, Lise. Okay, Lisa. Next 3 months. And this is a hump time when we're switching the energy of the years. So, oh, you got it together, girl. Are you thinking about moving? This shows you're thinking about moving offices or home. Ooh, you got fun cards. Okay, this is you today. And today it shows you finally figured your act out and you're thinking about making a move, a serious move. And it's good for you because you've been kind of turned upside down about where you were, but it's going to be a real change for you. It's a real leap of faith to go make this change. So these cards have already happened, and they're kind of hate to say stuck with it, but yeah, are kind of the energy that's there because it's already happened. And this would be the thing we talked about at the beginning of the show about the things you went through here that made you feel less than. There, those are the things that you learn from that can make you feel more than. You're thinking about making a move. It's not going to be a move far away. I don't know if it's a move of residence. It could be a move of office jobs or change within the job. And it's going to be good for you because you're going to get away from this guy. And this guy is an asshole boss. That's what the guides are telling me. You're going to move to a position where you're going to get more money. It's not going to be such a great change that you can't absorb it. It's going to be a tower change, but not the big time bricks falling on your head. But it's going to end a cycle. That's why I think this guy's a jerk, because you got the 10 of swords up here. It's going to be a complete separation. But the difficulty for you is you're going to go back in like the student. You're going to have to go back in and relearn things. But the good things is if you understand that, just go in with that open mind and you'll be fine. But let's see if I'm going to pull out is the one that says change of money and circumstance. I'm going to put this in the middle. Let's see, what is this? Oh, this is glorious. You got the sun in the middle of this. You are moving on to someplace you want to be for a long time. It's the end of a very painful period in your life. And I don't think you're going to have to leave your happy home. I think it's a change within financial circumstances, not physical living circumstances. So we should all have such wonderful cards, and you deserve them because I think if I remember right from Facebook, you rescue kittens. Anybody who rescues kittens is okay in my book. Mm-hmm. I don't think I need to lay cards on this. Your supervisor is very insecure. I'm going to lay 5 cards, see if my instincts are right. And is it going to work in your favor? I got a feeling other people understand this person's not telling the truth. So if I don't get a garden question soon, I'm going to take the garden up because it's hard for me to keep laying it down flat. Okay. This is based on the supervisor's jealousy. I don't know what you did to piss this person off, but man, I don't think you did anything. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to turn out okay for you because you've got the sun. They're trying to get you demoted, or they're afraid of being demoted. Something they've done, they're trying to throw off on you. It's going to be very painful for the next little while. And this tells me what it's about. It's about, let's see if their lies are going to work. No, their lies are not going to work because the 3 cards you got on him trying to blame you was someone above him smart enough to know kind of what's going on. Other people in your office are not believing it. You wouldn't get the stories back if they were believing it. And it's going to work out fine for you. That's kind of a party image. So that's what it is. So for you, it's to defend yourself and prove what he's saying isn't true wherever it shows up. And I'm saying it's a guy. If this is a woman, she just has a very much, I'm the king of the jungle and don't come near me. Okay. Okay. Let's see if Rossi needs to move. See if Rossi needs to move. It's yes and no. If you can afford the pay hit, yes, and you might not move to a place where you feel happier. But right now you don't feel stable at all, and you're not being surrounded by people you want. So let's see. I'm not going to say is it's best. I'm going to say, will it improve your situation significantly? I still got a yes no. The thing is, you're going to take a financial hit doing this, and can you afford to do that? But yeah, you really, in your own mind, you need to get the hell out of there. You need to go to a place where you feel like people are more in line with you, where you're not having to battle every day when you get up. This card tells me if you start meditating now and really looking around, you'll be able to pull in the energy to show you the best way to go. But the problem is when you move before, you did it without doing a lot of long-term planning. He also can mean a financial downturn. But Rossi, I think the move is what you make of it. Moving, okay, there's a thing that I used to hear people talk about, a friend of mine who's a therapist. It's called a geographic cure. If I move from here, all my problems are going to go away. That's not true, because some of your problems we carry inside ourselves. And that's what she was accusing me of trying to do. That's why she mentioned it. So I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying, it's going to be what you make of it. You have to really get yourself mentally in the right place for it. Arrange my poor little Ukrainian flags all messed up. Okay. Do you see my writing career taking off? Bridget G. Okay, I'm going to just put it the way you worded it, because that seems to be pretty cut and dried. Oops. Okay. Having a little trouble here getting these to want to shuffle right. So we're going to go to Angels and Oracles, because that's a lovely deck. And we'll put out, you can do a 3-card reading with this too. So I'm going to do that for you. It shuffled this time, Bridget. The tarot was not going to read for you today. It just does that. And there's no significance in the universe to it, except they say, I'm tired. We're going to retire. Okay, you got it. What? Have confidence. Okay. And energy healing. So what have confidence tells me is balance, strength, and be prepared. And you can see this little, she's like on toe shoes, on a tightrope, and she's balancing all these elements that we have in our lives. And then your center card says, your biggest problem is that you get indecisive and you get ahead of yourself instead of just putting the work out there and see who salutes. And this is Zadkiel, and it's purple, but it says indecisive, ego, lost, use your own judgment. So then, but your out card's brilliant. It's energy healing, and it's holistic well-being, thriving, and vibrant. So if you can get that insecurity that you burden yourself with, you've got 2 great cards to move ahead in 2024. That looks really, really good. So stick with golden things and bright green. You might want to work on your heart chakra. Maybe you're letting your Oh, I'm bringing in energy that tells me no. Well, if you send that out, that's what you're going to bring in. So um, it has all the possibilities of taking off. You have to agree to let it take off. What divinational tool should I use? I don't know if that's tool. Oh, yeah, you wrote it again. So we can all see that you wrote it again. Tool. Okay. Apparently you type as well as I do sometimes, Lisa. Okay. Trying to figure out the best. I don't know what tools you're using currently, which kind of puts me a little bit on the blind side. So I think I'm going to use the surrender deck, and we're going to see what you should surrender to. That will tell me a whole lot about what you should be moving towards. Okay. Use for what, kids? I use tools for everything. I spoke to someone yesterday. I did a long reading for her, and she's trying to make some decisions about how to restructure her life. And she's in the same boat. But see, I'm in the same boat because I use crystals, I use cards, I use pendulums, I use oracle cards, I use my garden, I use my instincts. Let's see, which divination tool should you use? Okay, it says you're going to find your answer in nature. And it says, take a relaxing break, spend time in nature, replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and the ecstasy here. Don't sit in a little room with all of the cards and crystals and things gathered around you. Go out and look at nature and see where nature moves you to. And Lisa, this is really a question I'd have to answer personally, because without knowing what you've tried and where you've been striving for it and what you've been trained in, it could be energy work, which, I mean, Reiki and stuff like that, which I don't do innately and I don't have a great connection to. But I think if you go out in nature right now, and this is a great time to do it because the world's kind of messed up and it'll lead you in the right way. And it goes, yes, and I answered it, Lilac Girl. I'll go back and see which of the banners you were. Go back. You were the second or third reading I did today. So go back there and your reading's done. I did see it. Let's see where you are. Oh, I'm getting lost. Oops, I jumped a bunch. I hate that. Roni, okay. 2024 is an 8-year. We've been in a 7-year. 7 is a lot of analysis and turmoil and stuff. 8 years, money and power. This would be a year universal within the universal year where we'll be gathering information together. You're right. 2024 does not equal 7, and I did say that. And I told y'all I was crappy at math. That's been a big chunk of this conversation. So. Okay. Teresa, yeah, this is what you need when people ask, like, I'm a Leo and what should I do? Leos tend to be attracted to those colors and you're not. And that may mean your sun's in Leo, and I don't know where it is in Leo, but everything else may be so in other signs, and that overpowers you, because my sun is in Taurus, but my ascendant is at a very powerful degree in Scorpio, and that's where I tend to end up, is with the Scorpio side of things. So kids, we are about 2 minutes away from being an hour. and I don't want to take more of your blessed time than you need. And Lilac Girl's right. Pyrite is a good stone. It's a good grounding stone. It's gold, but it's not gold. It's fool's gold. It teaches us not to rely totally on the physical world for understanding. And I get a lot of blessings, a lot of fun things. Okay. Okay. Some Jan Johnson said the reading was right on spot. Good. No, you're making sense because we don't progress in flat lines. I couldn't go and read past lives if everything sort of wasn't happening at once. I couldn't go back and see what happened in your life in this life, the past of your life. But still things that your soul as it is now in this timeline hasn't met, then those are projections, and you can control those or be aware of them and make some changes. So that's good with that one. And okay. And these kittens. And thank you all for being here. You're thanking me for being here. I'll do this one because I think I have a deck that deals totally with people who've passed over. So I'm going to go get it for you. And I don't have to go back to the table, which is always fun. But you do get to see me lift cards out of another part of my life. This deck is called Talking to Heaven. And if you've ever wanted to do mediumship without really studying a whole lot up on it and feel like you can do it, these cards are great. They're done by James von Prague. And I'm asking about what would the message be from your friend who passed over? Singing tree. Oh, he said, don't worry about it, that we'll be together again. And I will read you because his inspiration's in this. We will be together again. And if you see it, it's people on those kind of surfboards that you can paddle like a boat. Because our souls are intertwined in shared visions and unfinished business, we're destined to be together. For now, I will be with you in my non-physical form, functioning as a guide and a loving companion. While I can't give the guidance that God or the angel world, I will lend my support to help and protect you. And then he says, once your life is complete, we will be reunited in spirit form. I'll remind you of the ways of the wondrous and non-physical world. I can tell you now that there's nothing to fear about dying, yet you must live your life completely in order to fulfill your mission. When the time is right, you and I will have each other's physical lives together, one perfectly orchestrated to help the other through the spiritual growth for both of us. So I think what he's telling you is he may have gone away and kind of seems like an abrupt, weird time, but his mission was done. He's real clear about that. And he knew his mission was over and it was time for him to go. So don't feel like, did he do anything that's complete? I don't think there was foul play involved, by the way. But don't quote me on that because I'm not any good at past life stuff. I mean, passing over stuff. Oh, okay, yeah. You got to get out of that room. If you go out in nature, nature will tell you where you need to go, Lise. Hi, Angla. One of the first women I read today was from Sweden. Isn't that fun? Y'all up in the north part of Europe there? I'm done, guys. I got a few more 3-month forecasts. Watch a week from today. I think I'm going to do another one of these. and for the holiday week, and I got a lot of things on my plate. I'm doing 12-month readings. They're working out really well for people, but I can only do so many within a time frame. So if you're really interested in a 12-month reading, you need to get over to my website, and it's listed there how to get in touch with me. And what you do is when you buy the reading on the, it's like a shop. There's a shop there, and it says shop, SHOP. It's not hard to find. And you check, you want 12-month reading. It lets me know immediately, and then I contact you about setting it up. And I've had a couple people say, why don't you have one of those handy dandy computer generated sets up your appointments? Because the one time I tried it, it was a complete disaster for me. I guess I'm not that organized, so I couldn't do it. So I've got 12 months readings. I've got card and tarot readings. I've got where I do both the garden and the tarot. And I mean, I'll throw everything in. I've got all the stuff right here in front of me. And I've got eggs. I have a few eggs left. And if you've never seen an egg, where have you been? But here's the throat chakra. This is the throat chakra one. And I really am not going to make any more eggs for a while, guys. I got that egg, which is the throat chakra. And I've got, this is the heart chakra. And you meditate for that part of your body. And for those of you who are thinking, why are there only 2 chakras on there? I have all the other ones designed, but they sell so slowly. And then all of a sudden one day they'll all sell. And then it's 6 weeks because where they're manufactured. This is made out of acrylic, and these guys have to form the egg, polish it down. They have to create the medallion on the inside. All the stones they're using are stones I've sent them. And I really don't want to invest in more eggs unless I sell out, and then I might go back. And if after the heart and the throat, the next chakra I would build would be the root chakra. And I've had people tell me that they use them as portal entries. I've had people tell me all kinds of stuff they do when they work with them. I have great letters of how it all works for them, when they're using them. It's just taken a while to get used to having them and selling them. The other things that I sell, of course, my garden, the Oracle Garden, and that comes along with classes if you get that. And then I'm doing tarot classes starting in January 27th, and I'll talk more about that as we get closer to January. But we're going to teach another night class, 6 weeks, and everybody seemed to like the last. We did 2. We did a day class and a night class, but we had much more interest in the night class. I keep forgetting. Most of you have gone back to a normal life where you go away sometime during the week to work or just go out, since I don't do those sorts of things much. I thought the day class would be more popular, but the night class is. And that's followed up with you get a tape of each class, so you have the lessons forever. And other than that, and being on here on Tuesdays, and then this Thursday at 1 o'clock, I'll be on Bathrobe Tarot. 1 o'clock my time. Maybe it's 11:30. Anyway, I'll send out a notice because Danny sent me the invitation, and I think we changed the time. Someone changed the time. And we're going to look at the end of 2023, which all I can say is a big giant yay. And I want to mention again what I started the show off with was our sense of failure and people feeling like life's failing them right now. It's not at all. Look at what's happened with the elections and the fact that more and more of what we really fear is coming to light. So it's harder. These little rats can only survive when they live in their hidey holes. I did hear one thing that kind of disturbed me, but I kind of knew it was always there. Apparently, someone went to a conservative Christian conference thing, and they had a bulletin point. Who do we want to go get? Of course, they want to go get anybody who didn't support Trump. So I'm already on that hit list. Then they want to go after all the LGBTQ. They won't say minorities anymore, by the way, because then they can't say they're not racist. But they can go after LGBTQ, which affects my family as it affects every family in this country. And then the third on their lists are people working in the occult. And you just sat through an hour of it. They don't call it spirituality because that's what they claim they're selling. What they're selling is a path to the higher part of the universe with lots of rules, and we're not. I mean, we're just saying find your own way. This is, you can actually feel good without beating someone else up. So I think last Tuesday was a huge win. And if you didn't see the show I did with Scott Allen on spiritual essence, we had a friend of mine who's a political consultant who worked in Virginia, and he was over there for the last 5 weeks, and he saw a tremendous change. And he's got a lot of great information on the attitudes of people. And he's going to be working more in the 2024 cycles. He's located here in Texas. Truth in Advertising, he was my former business partner. And he's doing great things with the system we developed on gathering information and canvassing. And that's because I talked to him and other people who work in this. I know the American voter is not as stupid as people like to think they are. Now they voted for Trump, but I don't think that was a legitimate election. I think that we had a lot of Russian interference, and we're seeing a lot of Russian interference now. And, just the super, super hyper conservatives. Anyway, I'm not supposed to talk about politics. Bye.